everyone. So for this next project, you're just gonna need pencil, marker, and crayon. Okay, now I'm not done with this, but we're gonna be creating cities, okay, and they're not gonna be realistic. But what we are gonna do is we're gonna do a layering process with crayon and marker. And we're also going to be using pattern and repetition, okay? And so here we've got pattern, right? Okay, we see black, orange, blue, black, orange, blue, okay? And here we've got some pattern, and here we've got some pattern, okay? Some pattern is obvious, and some pattern is not always obvious, okay? This is called random pattern, okay? Some people like to call it rhythm, okay? And basically, it's when something repeats, two or more things repeat, but not in a linear fashion. It repeats all over the place, okay? So you can use that kind of pattern, which I will show you examples of in Google Meet. Or you can use more typical pattern, like light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And if you don't remember, La Ciudad means the city, okay? And I chose to do Seattle because that's actually where I was born. So I invested in some fancy-dancy smelly markers. So I'm excited to use these. I haven't used these since I was a kid. And then I've got my crayons, okay? I'm just gonna grab a handful right now to put on the other side of me. I love the smell of crayons, that waxy smell. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, some of you might want to sketch out your cities first. I feel comfortable not sketching it out first. It's a personal choice, okay? But to create your city, you know, we're gonna be creating skyscrapers, which are usually rectangular shapes, but not always, okay? And I wouldn't worry about having perfectly straight lines, okay? This is just a fun, abstract city using all sorts of colors, okay? Now, I'm gonna start doing the layering process with crayon, okay? Which is what I wanted to demonstrate in this video, okay? So I'm gonna go back in and color some areas with crayon, okay? Outline some areas with crayon, okay? All right, now I'm gonna go back over top of that with marker. These smelly markers are delicious. Okay, so that's one building. Now I'm going to show you another building where I'm actually going to start out with crayon, okay? All right. Now, one thing that's really kind of fun to do is to take a lighter crayon and go over a darker color, okay? So I'm going over my blue with a peach. Okay. Now, cities have changed a lot over time. And that's one thing we're going to kind of examine with this project is how cities have changed, okay? In fact, in New York, they say the city has been built on top of each other, or on top of old buildings over and over and over again, and there's a whole underground system underneath New York because it's so old and it's just been built on top of each other, layer after layer, okay? All right, I'm going to do one more building as an example, and then it'll be your turn, okay? And if you want to start working while you watch this video, that's an option too. Now, some buildings have slanted tops, and I'm going to actually demonstrate random pattern for this, okay? Oh, and I want to show you one more thing, okay? So actually, don't start working yet. I want you to watch this, okay? Random pattern, remember, it's not just like obvious pattern, okay? It repeats, but kind of all over, okay? So, random pattern again is pattern that repeats, but not in a linear or line-like fashion, okay? So this all repeats, but not like triangle, circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle. The triangles and the circles repeat, but randomly, all over, okay? So that's an example of random pattern. Now I'm going to show you one more thing with the crayon that I like to do with black. I like to go over black with light colors. Because they really stand out. Okay, one other thing I'm going to show you is something called overlapping. Okay, now if you look at my city, the buildings overlap, okay? And that's one way that we can show space within a city and distance, okay? So to create buildings behind other buildings, you can make a building and then create a building popping out from behind, okay? You can also make a building so long that it pops out from behind on both sides, okay? I do want you to try this in your drawing, overlapping, okay? Definitely try overlapping. It shows space. It shows you that this building is closer than this building, and this building is closer than this building. Okay, let's go back to the one that I'm not quite finished with. Okay, so look, I've got a variety of color and pattern. I did overlapping of buildings, but I also did overlapping of marker and crayon. Okay, and that's what I want you to really experiment with. Also, one thing that I love to do with crayon, and really any medium, is ombres. Okay, so you start out heavy and dark, and then you get lighter, and then you go back in with another color, You start out heavy and dark, and then you get lighter, and you let those colors blend together. Okay, that's another thing you can experiment with. All right, my friends, I will show you this completed city later, and happy art making.